What's going on, boys and girls? It's Josh from thepreppingplace.com, and today we're going to be talking about my EDC. Everybody does their pocket dump or EDC video, and we all do them a little bit differently. The thing I wanted to focus on today was specifically how do I EDC and what do I EDC in California. It's great when you guys are in the hill country of Texas, or you guys are up in the mountains of Colorado, and you guys can conceal carry your AR pistol, you got your Draco in your backpack, you got your truck minigun. That's fantastic. In California, we have to do things a little bit differently, so that's kind of what I wanted to cover for today. So one of the big things I wanted to go through is this is the stuff that I carry every day. Whether I'm going to church on Sunday, I'm taking my kids to the mall, we're doing whatever. This is my everyday carry, and we're just going to kind of go through what I'm wearing, why I'm wearing it, what I'm carrying, and where I'm carrying it. So first things first, let's start with the wardrobe. Again, as I mentioned, I am in California, which means that guns are scary, and if you have one, you're obviously a bad person. So because of that, a concealment garment is very important. I will almost always wear some variant of a flannel overshirt. One of the reasons why I wear this specific one is this is the Redneck brand. I believe it's a Redneck Ultimate Flannel from Bass Pro Shop. I like them because they come in a large tall. As you can see, the dad bod is not doing so great this year, but you know, pandemic, world's ending. I think I can have some extra cake. But if I wear an extra large, it looks like I'm wearing my dad's shirt. It's big, it's flowy, it's billowy, not the most comfortable. So because of that, I like to wear the large tall. I feel it's a little bit more fitted, it looks a little bit better for me, and it looks like a normal shirt. But I always get the long length. The nice thing about this is that it comes right to the pockets, and it lets me still access all my pockets as needed, but it prevents the printing. The worst thing in the world is when you reach up to grab something and now you're brandishing. In California, you didn't just, oopsie, I'm sorry you saw my gun. You now have a full swatting action taking place. So something to be careful with there. That's why I like these shirts, because they come in a large tall. I don't have to do any special tailoring, buy any big frumpy shirts, and I'm not wearing a Tommy Bahama, because that's just not really my style. So that is my cover garment. I don't generally keep anything in the pockets up top. Sometimes sunglasses will go in the pocket. Usually they fall out and get scratched. For the rest of my shirts, I usually will wear some variant of a large tall t-shirt as well. This just gives me a little bit more redundancy if for some reason I don't have a cover garment, or if it's just very warm outside and I can't wear a cover garment, I will go with just a t-shirt. The problem with this is this doesn't give me that frictionless layer. The nice thing with an overshirt over top of a t-shirt is you don't really get that binding and that buildup around the firearm. If I'm going with just a t-shirt, as you can see, there is a little bit of printing that goes on. Not terrible, and again, some of you guys are worse off than this, but there is still a little bit of printing. So because of that, I will often wear the cover garment over the large tall. So getting into the actual items that I carry on a regular basis. I'll go ahead and tuck my shirt in so you guys can get a little bit better view. We'll start top down and kind of work our way around. So everything is based off the actual belt. This is just a Core Essentials trackline belt. It's one of their gun belts, and it's pretty comfortable. I like it because I can adjust depending on what I'm carrying. I can have different weapons, different things. If I'm feeling real frisky, I can put an extra mag or something on my belt line, and this lets me adjust it on the fly, and I'm not pulling my pants up every 5 minutes because I'm one belt hole off. So I do like the micro adjustments. I think they're a 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, something like that. So it is very comfortable. Everybody here has seen the Trackline belt reviews, so I'm not going to do those for you right now. So that's my belt. Left hand side, I have my keys. Nothing special here. I will have close-ups for you guys coming up soon. But just a simple set of keys, my wife's keys. The only thing that I really have on here that's very preppy or preppery is I always have a Leatherman squirt. This is the PS4. So the thing I really like about this is it does have scissors. I've got 2 young kids. I use scissors all the time, whether it's a string that's causing one of them to have a heart attack because it's hanging out and tickling their neck awkwardly, whether it's to cut down a drinking straw at a restaurant, all the things need to be cut on a regular basis. So this is almost always on my keychain unless I'm going someplace where I can't have it. I have had to throw some of these away in the past because it's not worth walking back to the car when you get to the Disneyland checkpoint and you still have it. So they're like 20 bucks, totally worth having. I have a couple of them. My wife keeps one in her bag when she goes to work. It's a little heavy for her to have in her scrubs, but it is nice for her to have a small set of pliers with her in the hospital. Again, semi-permissive environment. Nobody's going to freak out about the little 1.5-inch blade. 2-3-inch blade with her Buck Vantage she normally carries can sometimes ruffle some feathers. So depends on the situation, depends on what you're doing. But that's why I always have that on there. And as far as the carabiner, I do have a fall-rated carabiner on my keys. One of the things I do think is important is having the opportunity for extrication, exfil options. I don't work any longer in a multi-story building. For a while I was on a 3rd floor. So the nice thing about this is with a fall-rated carabiner and 25 to 30 feet of paracord on my keys, it won't be the most comfortable extrication, but so again, if we were to go out a window with proper securing and drop down, it at least gives them something that they can go down. Again, it's an option. I've just had it on my keys for a few years now. I'm no longer teaching at that location. It was a place I was teaching EMT and paramedic school. I'm no longer doing that. So now I just have it on my keys as out of force of habit. So it's never a bad thing to have a fall-rated carabiner around you. I wouldn't go out of my way to climb with this. This is a last-ditch effort. If you guys are ever going on actual climbing, like rock climbing adventures, you guys are going trad climbing or something, please don't use gear that you daily carry. This thing has been beaten around. I don't even want to see the x-ray on this thing. I guarantee it's not as strong as it once was, but it's much better than 99-cent carabiner that would be at the 7-Eleven or whatever that most people carry on their keys. Same general area in this slash pocket. I always keep a Leatherman. I used to keep a fixed blade there, just a various Spyderco of some type usually, but now I have a Leatherman for the most part. This one is the Leatherman Wingman. Same philosophy, same thought process behind keeping that Leatherman squirt on my keys. I like to always have this with me. This is much better for food prep, for cutting up the hot dog, the hamburger, the pizza for the kids. We go out to restaurants often, they bring out a full personal pan pizza for the children and then they just leave. We don't have silverware, it's hard to cut with the butter knife at the table, so it's nice to be able to break this out, and that's where the scissors come in handy as well. I use the scissors out of both of these more than I ever used my actual fixed blade. The fixed blade on here is great for boxes and just the general daily stuff. If I have to do anything more precision, that's what I usually reserve the Leatherman squirt for. So I keep that one razor sharp in case I need it for more scalpel-esque processes. This is just my brute force cutter. Works great for a box from Amazon, works great for the kids' pizza. So I do use that one on a daily basis. Moving forward slightly, I always keep a pen or two on me. Primary pen is going to be the Pilot G2. I usually like the 0.5 size. I could go for hours on pens, but if you've never actually done handwritten reports that are legal, you've never understood the struggles of a crappy ballpoint pen. I don't like twist pens, they always fall apart. I do like a solid click because of my ADHD, and I like gel pens because of the weather. If you've never tried to use a regular ballpoint pen in sub-zero or freezing-ish temperatures, they don't work very well. So with gel pens, they will continue to write. I prefer the 0.5s because they're pretty standard, and just out of force of habit, I will always write on my palms. The 0.38 is great if you're doing just paperwork. In the role that I'm in now, it's more handwriting on paper than it is on my hand. I'm not working crash scenes and doing stuff anymore, at least not for the living. So that's why I have transitioned to the 0.38. I will nerd out on pens. I could do that for hours. I will move on. In that same pocket, I often keep a flashlight. There's a couple that roll through the stable of flashlights. This is an Olight. This is an S30R Baton 3. I like this one. The batons seem to be working really well for me. The things that I do like is you can hold it down just for a little bit and you get the little moonlight mode, or you double tap and you basically have the sun. So it depends on what you want. I despise with a burning white hot passion Flashlights with 38 modes. I hate them. I want my light to come on bright when I need it, and I want my light to not be super bright when I don't want it to be. If I'm looking for my keys that I dropped in my floorboard of the car, I don't need to pull out the sun. However, if somebody's walking up to me in a parking lot, I have absolutely no qualms blinding some stranger in the face. It is much preferable to get light in the eyes than some of the other alternatives that I normally carry. So this is my go-to. I love it. I do like that it has the magnetic base, which comes in handy, especially when you got a step stool next to you. But I do like that magnetic base for working on the car. And the reversible clip, I didn't think was going to be that beneficial, but I throw this thing on my ball cap all the time. A while ago, we were at a family fair type thing, and going through the corn maze, clipping this thing on the ball cap, going to the porta potty with the kids. There's no lights in there. It's nighttime. I don't want to put this in my mouth because I know I'm going to drop it, but clipping it on my ball cap gave me a free headlamp, and then I could deal with the kids as needed. So it does come in handy. To each his own, but that is one thing I have found very helpful to have. This pocket, left front, I always keep my wallet, a couple credit cards. I may go through this as a wallet dump sometime in the future, and then I do have my ID on the front, and then I have my concealed carry permit in here all the time. A few things I will always have with me, 1 or 2 credit cards, depending on what system and what strategy I'm running for the week or the month. I like to play the credit card points game. I will always have my concealed carry permit on me. I will always have my driver's license on me. Something I also suggest for you guys that carry in your vehicle, consider making a copy of your driver's license and a copy of your concealed carry permit. It does not replace either of those options, but if you get pulled over on the way back home because you realized you forgot your wallet, it is beneficial to have something that you can show the officers, hey, I'm not a dirtbag, I'm not lying. They can run the numbers a little bit easier than just going by your name. Lots of people are named Joe Smith, but not that many people have that exact same identification. So just be aware of that. There are lots of people with similar names, so plan accordingly. In that left front pocket, I also always carry a spare mag. This is a 7-round Smith & Wesson M&P Shield. As a little giveaway, I am carrying a shield on my hip. This is a 7-round M&P Shield magazine with a 2-round extension by a company called Mag Guts. I really like this. It gives me a 9-round secondary magazine, and it takes up the exact same footprint. It's actually a little bit shorter than the 8-round mag. So you just take a 7-round mag, drop the guts, drop the floor plate, add in their magazine spring, which is just a different design, and gets you 2 extra rounds. So I can actually carry a 9-round magazine. In right front slash pocket, I will always carry, for the most part, my Apple earbuds. I have not upgraded to the Pros. I haven't broken these yet. When I break or lose these, run them through the wash enough times, I will upgrade. Till then, these have been working out just fine for me. Can of pepper spray. Again, I did mention that I am in California. The last thing I want to do is to use my concealed carry insurance, because that means series of things have gone astray. I have not been able to de-escalate. I have not been able to escape or evade. I have not been able to ask someone to go away nicely and then ask them to go away less nicely. But I will always try to go with this. If you guys have never actually been hit with pepper spray or OC spray, it is freaking terrible. I've had it a couple times working on scene where police officers get a little overzealous, and while we're wrestling with patients or something on the ground, they'll come over and just nuke us all. So not fun. Don't do that if you're that guy. Nobody likes that guy. But this is a can I've had for maybe a year or so. I try to rotate these through every year or two. Usually when the cans get enough dents and I can't read the label, that usually tells me it's time to change out the can. So this one is getting a little long in the tooth, but I may be switching this out sometime in the near future. This is just a Saber Red something or other, just whatever the big can from Bass Pro. It is a very large can of pepper spray to carry on a regular basis. I always keep this with me. Not usually for the 2-legged friends, but for the 4-legged friends that want to come say howdy do. I do take my kids for walks. We go for hikes. We go out in the countryside and do stuff on a regular basis. And in my area, we do have quite a few loose dogs. A lot of it is because people are just negligent with their gate management. Some of it is just animals running amok. So I like to keep the bigger can because on a windy day, just keep spraying. Accuracy by volume also works with OC spray. And I'm okay saying I'm sorry for accidentally macing somebody's dog when they ran up at me, as opposed to I'm sorry I ventilated your dog. Doesn't usually go over quite as well. And I need to double check with my concealed carry insurance to see if they cover that. So that's a nice little thing just jumped to mind. So anyway, this is more for animals than anything. Most people don't like to be pepper sprayed. If you've never been pepper sprayed, try it. It's a great time. I encourage you to do it once in your life. That's it for my front pockets. I have my iPhone, just an old 6S Plus in a LifeProof case. I love LifeProof cases. I started carrying these on the ambulance, and I like them because I can just bleach the heck out of my phone. I can cover this thing in bleach, Cavicide, whatever kind of hateful cancer-causing cleaners are on the ambulance, and it wipes off any uckies that are out there. So in this wonderful pandemic environment that we're in, having LifeProof case is nice because I can literally just plunk this thing into some soapy water and or bleach or whatever else. These cases usually last me about a year. They do start to deteriorate. All the little raised edges will start to fray and tear. But again, this is a 6S Plus and it's still running strong for me. So I haven't broken it yet. It looks as good as new because it's always lived in a case. So something to be aware of. They are kind of expensive. They're like $60 brand new. If you wait a few months, whenever a new model of phone comes out, these things get offloaded. I just bought my wife a new one for $20. Whenever she comes home from the hospital, she bleaches it before she leaves. She comes home, she gives it a solid clean again. So these do come in handy. So I strongly encourage some type of waterproof cell phone case if your phone isn't already waterproofed from the manufacturer. Androids aren't really phones. We'll get into that in a different day. So, coming around, we talked about the belt. The last thing to talk about is going to be the pistol. So, for this, I do have the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield Model 1. Model 1, because in California, the Model 2, the 2.0, is terribly dangerous. You cannot own it. Thank you to our governors for keeping us safe from new weapons. The Model 1, loved by children and grandmas alike. The Model 2 actually will get you on a watch list. So be prepared for that. With the Model 1, it works great. I usually will carry it with a 7-round standard magazine, and then I always have one in the chamber. And then I have my 9-round backup for my other magazine. Again, for a lot of people, that's very rounds limited, but you have to remember, I'm in California. A few weeks ago, we had something called Freedom Week. You guys probably heard about it and laughed about it. You're a bad person. But Freedom Week was where we were allowed to purchase ammunition carrying devices, magazines generally, that were going over the 10-round maximum, as if we were in a free state and part of the Constitution actually applied to us. However, that only lasted for 7, 8 days. After that, we were no longer allowed to buy them. We can still own them, we can possess them, we can't import or export them, we can't sell them, we can't use them, we can't carry them, but I can own it. So, a 15-round Glock 19 mag would be great. Glock 17 mag would be awesome. Upload it with an extended base plate, have a 25-round magazine as my backup. That'd be fantastic. But I can't carry that, use that, do anything with that. So, for realistically thinking about it, I can only carry 10 rounds maximum. My Glock 19, it's on my concealed carry list. I can carry it, but that's going to add extra ounces and a lot of extra bulk to my waistline, and I don't need any more of that. Whereas if I'm carrying my 7 and 9 round mags, I'm only down a couple of shots. If that 3, 4, 5 shots really is the epitome of what's going to actually tilt over a gun battle, I have failed miserably. I'm already now 7 weapons deep. I've already engaged a threat. I've reloaded. I've engaged a threat. All of his friends have showed up. I've engaged them. And I'm now waiting 3 or 4 more rounds. Statistically, that's irrelevant. I carry the backup mag for malfunctions. I don't really carry the backup mag for copious ammunition delivery. If I have a 15 round mag in my Glock 19 and a 17 round Glock 17 mag, that's fantastic. I don't know how many groups of ninjas you have pissed off, but I generally try not to get on that many people's bad sides all at one time. So you do you, but that's why I carry what I carry. So with that, the holster, and this one is loaded, so I'm not going to pull it out of the holster, but this holster is actually a PJ custom holster, or PJ Holsters custom build. I actually won this through a Kit Badger Patreon contest that he had running. So it's fantastic. I won this, I don't know, 2 years ago, and I've carried this almost every day in this holster. I've got a bunch of other holsters. I've got Appendix Rigs. I've got Bravo Concealment. I've got a couple other ones out there, and I don't carry them. I always come back to this one. It's a simple, cheap holster. It's one piece of Kydex that's folded around the gun and folded for the clip to go on the belt, and it's comfortable. My favorite thing about it is the width. This is a very narrow holster. It's almost as narrow as just having a little slide clip. It's only adding a few more millimeters to it altogether, ½ inch maybe, over a little slide mounted clip, but I have the full trigger guard protection, and it's comfortable. There are no sharp edges, there's no burrs, there's no weird little things sticking me and poking me. That's what I found with a lot of my other holsters. So because of that, I have just kept coming back to this holster. For some of my other guns, I only have one from PJ Holsters. Next time I'm going to get a custom Kydex holster made, I'm going to go back to him. I've tried a couple others, and I keep going back to that same holster. So I would strongly encourage you guys to look at that holster company. If I can find the links and information, I will put them in the description below, and or on the website, because YouTube is YouTube. So with that, I strongly encourage this holster. If you guys live in a free state, carry whatever you can carry. This gives me a little bit more opportunity. It gives me a little bit more, a few more options than like a little Airweight 38 or an Airweight 357. But it's comfortable to shoot. It's easy to reload. My wife can shoot it pretty comfortably, and it does have a manual safety, which makes my wife more comfortable. I do engage it just so I get in the practice of disengaging it in case it were ever to be accidentally engaged without my knowledge. Get in the habit of sweeping the safety as if it was a 1911. But it's comfortable. I can shoot it, my wife can shoot it, and that's all I can really ask for. So with that, the last thing, we talked about the shirt, we talked about the various shirts, is my pants. I've got a couple different iterations of the 511 pant. The one that I keep coming back to are these. These are the 511 Ridgeline pants. The things I really like about them is that it allows me to carry a fanny pack's worth of stuff while still pretending that I have some dignity left. So I can keep all of the junk in these front magazine pockets. So I can keep my pen, flashlight, I can keep my my pepper spray, my other stuff in these front slash pockets, and it keeps the main pockets clear for wallet and magazine. And then it keeps this one clear for my cell phone. So I can get those easier to access items that I'm usually getting to. I can get those pretty nicely. And then back pockets, I do like that they have the higher slash pocket, because this keeps the Leatherman from walking. I hate putting something in my back pocket, and as the day goes on, it just creeps around, you end up sitting on it. So keeping it off to the side makes it really comfortable. So when I sit down, even with all this stuff, it doesn't impede me sitting anywhere. I can jump into a car and do a 12-15 hour drive, and it doesn't really mess with me. I do have a back injury from working in the field for too many years. I have become very aware when I accidentally put my wallet in my back pocket. That little bit of minimalist wallet will throw my back off if I sit on it for too long. So being able to move all of that stuff around to the sides and keep it off the actual back of my pants has been very comfortable. Beyond that, the 511s have held up pretty well. All of them are stained in some way, shape, or form. They are not very stain resistant unless you Scotch guard them. As far as water resistance, right out of the package, they're pretty good, but that does break down very quickly. So if you are worried about fluids, if you were to wear these as a duty pant, I would strongly encourage some type of Scotch guard on them. For everyday wear, it's totally fine. They get wet, they get dry. It's no big deal. Beyond that, I think that's it. I always have an iPro on. Thank you, Astigmatism. And as far as my shoes, it depends on the day. Usually it'll be some variant of Merrell, just because they're cheap, and DSW will a lot of times have them on clearance. but I like the fact that I can pick up and run with the kids. It's been many years since I've gone outside in flip-flops because I never know what's going to happen. I've got two little hooligans. They both love to see if they can play Frogger, so I try to keep my shoes relatively nimble, so something with some traction, but some variant of basketball shoe or whatever else. But without rambling too much further, thank you guys so much for watching.